Hey guys, welcome back to New World Carpentry Solutions. In this video, we're going to start laying out so we can cut all the rabbets on our actual door jamb. After doing the initial rabbet, that's going to be where the hinges and the doorstop is. The next thing I need to do is actually do a rabbet or a relief down here at the bottom where my actual threshold is going to sit. And I actually had my threshold is pitched at an angle, so I want to make sure that my cut that I do at the bottom of the door jamb matches that angle. I've already cut the door jamb to the proper length, so now I need to make sure that when I make my marks that the threshold is flush to the bottom and that my angle matches the angle of the threshold, so when I put everything together they seat nice and tight and I have the threshold sitting flat on the floor. But what I did was actually take a sample of the threshold or cut off a short piece, use that up against my actual door jamb material and scribe that line, and now I'm just going to take a block of wood and actually double stick tape it to it. That way I have a straight edge, and then I'm going to use a pattern bit, and I'm actually just going to follow the block of wood that I double stick tape to it so I can relieve the excess material. One thing I will say is that I wish I actually had a longer bit and or a bushing. That way I can use a longer flush trim bit. I mean just a longer upcut bit, and I can, kind of just lower my depth. But right now all I have is like a 1/2 inch kind of like a hinge bit. So it's a 1/2 inch bit with a bearing on top, so I can only do a shallow pass. So what I have to do now is actually do my first pass using the block of wood to kind of give me a shoulder to ride on. Then after that I can remove my block and then do my final passes to get to my proper depth. It's a little bit more work than having the proper bit set up, but I'm glad at least I had a bit and a setup that was able to do this with what I already had here in the shop. But this is the nice sign that I need to up my router bit collection. But the first thing I'm going to do is take this first shallow pass, the deepest that I can with the bearing still riding along the board. I'm going to kind of work my way on the outside of the material and work my way back to the block to make sure the router itself doesn't have a chance to tip. Then I'm going to do a test fit just to make sure that the threshold is sitting nicely. And this is actually when I realized that I can't do it with my current setup and that I need to remove the block. After doing that first pass, I try to lower the router just a little bit lower, and as you can see here, my actual bit is digging into, or I believe it's actually the top part of the bearing that is digging into my board, which is preventing me from actually getting an accurate cut. So what I need to do is actually remove the board. Kind of realized it a little late, which I would have picked up on it immediately, but it's not a problem. I can just use the other edge of that board to, as a straight edge for my rest of my cuts. But now that I actually have the board removed, I'm able to lower the router and do this. I think I had to do like 3 passes to get to the proper depth, but I'm able to again use the shoulder that I already created using the board to get this perfectly aligned and hog out the waist just as I need it to. And as you guys can see, it fits perfect. I just need to repeat this process on the bottom of the other jamb material, and then after that I can do a straight cut on the top side so that the top of my door jamb can then sit in there. But what I'm going to do now is just let the video run as I do this. But guys, make sure you let me know down in the comments if you have any questions about this process, or if you guys just never used a router to, in a straight edge to kind of hog out material or to cut dados. Let me know down in the comments and I can probably do a video specialized to that specifically. I'm going to let this run though until we get to the top section of the door jamb. And now we're flipping over the door jamb itself, and for this top section it's a lot easier. There's no angle or anything I need to follow. I just want this line to be perfectly square and the proper thickness so that my top of my door jamb can then receive down into it. If I was applying my doorstop afterwards, I could actually just have my top portion of my jamb sit directly on my legs, but in this case, because I have the doorstop or the actual thickness that the door is going to slam up against, part of the same material, it's nice to actually have it rabbeted, so that way I can actually sit the top of the jamb down into it. It sits flush, but then the doorstop material looks like it wraps all the way around the jamb. This is a more professional look, and I think it makes the door more solid because it gives me more glue surface. So I'm going to repeat the same process that I did on the rest of the jamb, except in this case I'm just making a straight cut. But after getting all this removed, we can actually start test fitting the rest of the door jamb. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this process, and again, let me know down in the comments if you guys have any questions. Leave me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.